Check one, check two, check one, check two. Coming through. Oh yeah. So, walks with Wolfie, right? I haven't published the first recording that I did yet, even though it's all right. I mean, you can understand it. It was a bit windy, but I sort of got through it. Um, did it yesterday evening. This is the afternoon, and I'm just crossing the road in front of the flat and heading down towards the harbour again. Just felt like getting out of the flat. Just finished a meeting. Was a bit late. Getting online, was waiting for a phone call, and it didn't come. So guess I'll reschedule that for tomorrow. I hate waiting. I'd rather do stuff. I'm not a waiter. I'm not a. I was going to say I'm not a procrastinator, but we all procrastinate about some things, right? We put stuff off until it hurts too much, and then we work on everything, right? Very quickly, in order to try to repair damage. Well, we should. We should try to do the right thing. Of course, people will argue that they don't know what the right thing is. It's just simply what's ethical, what's moral, what's practical. Here's a boat. Here's an old boat. Walking past an old boat here. So it's called Pipe Dream. You can see some old guy, some old geezer. You can imagine him up there at the helm with his cap and his pipe and a big smile on his face. At least I can imagine that. I thought I just want to go out. I want to go out. I want to walk. And so I'm taking Wolfie for a little walk. Not far, just a little one. Some place where we can have a bit of space, a bit of peace. Already been out today, got some fresh air, went for a jog, did my daily duty chore task. And what's on my mind is this. I was thinking I want to go out. Like, why do you want to go out? Breathe fresh air. I'm like, I've already been out and breathed fresh air today. I still want to go out. And then I realized that I want to be around some people. That's what I want, because I'm used to being around people and noise and chaos and fun, and when all that gets ripped away from you, the result is that it's incredibly lonely for people. And I was trying to think about how I would explain this to those who haven't had that experience before, because most people are actually surrounded by people in one way or another. They're surrounded by people in their communities, surrounded by people in their families, surrounded by people in their work, surrounded by people in their social activities, even surrounded by people in online communities now. But not everybody. And there's a nail. The biggest nail in the coffin of life is loneliness. It's the final one, right? And you can see why there's so much suicide from people who live alone. The people who are in communities as well mask their feelings. And oh my gosh, I didn't realize is when people find out what people really thought and what they really felt, and well, you know, you realize that everybody's hiding something, right? Everybody's hiding something, just like the rocks on the other side of the harbor there. There are these spaces in the rocks where the rocks are chipped or broken or the stones have fallen out, and looks like there might be some birds hiding in there. So there's always something hidden. Doesn't mean it's bad if it's hidden. You want to hide some stuff to protect some stuff, I imagine. But what I was thinking about, the first thing that came into my head was old people. And how when two old people are living together, they spent their lives together, they love each other, one of them dies, boom, 6 months later, the other one's dead. Sometimes it's a week or 2 weeks later. So the situation of suddenly having to deal with nothingness, with silence, is incredibly harsh. Think about when one person leaves another person in a human relationship. Say person A leaves person B so the person A can be with person C. The person B will be okay. Are you sure? Are you really sure about that? Because, thinking about those old people, they hits them hard, right? Hits them hard having to walk around the house. There's nobody else to cook for, is there? Right? I'm not trying to be all depressing, and I'm not all depressed. What I'm telling you is, this shit is real, right? That's what I'm telling you. It's real. It's real. Human emotions are real. Isolation is real. And this idea that someone is going to put out some, because I've seen that there are these hotlines that you can call if you feel suicidal or alone or depressed or whatever. Who the hell's gonna pick up the phone to tell somebody else that they're depressed and alone? They're depressed and alone because of whatever choices they've made and whatever's happened to them, and they're not going to suddenly change direction. I mean, it's nice that the lifeline is there, but most of those things are not going to happen. Anyway, it's hard reorientation. It's very hard. Like the soldiers that come home from war. More soldiers die from suicide than in battle, or it has been like that in recent years. They kill themselves. They can't reorientate to being back in society and so-called normal culture. They just can't. They've either seen too much, or they've got some post-trauma stress, or they got some illness or sickness or injury or whatever. Everyone's carrying something. It's just too much for them. And they're left. They're used and abused. They've been bought and sold, right? Yeah. And then they kill themselves, right? Just like, it's not much difference from the old person who's left alone when their partner dies. And it's not the same, and people come around to visit, but it's not the same. Everything is very quiet, right? Or they get stuffed into old people's homes. like Like what? Like I got this picture in my head of a bag full to the brim with things, and you want to stick one more thing in the bag, but there's no space. That's the old person going into the old person's home, out of place. No family there. No, no family, no friend. They don't relate to that community. It's a place to go and wait and be served your medications, right? Served your medications. There's a sign here on the edge of the pier. I'm walking up and down the edge of the pier. There's a sign here on the edge of the pier. It says, dead slow. Because if you don't go slow, if you don't tread carefully, you're going to be dead, right? For sure, for sure. For sure. So, along with the old people who they just give up. They die of loneliness and broken hearts, and the quiet kills them, right? And then you get those soldiers that top themselves. They can't handle it. And then there's a huge number of isolated fathers that top themselves. Once again, just for the record, because people get shit all screwed up and panic. I'm not going to top myself because I have learned how to deal with all of this stuff through all of the weight of trauma that I've experienced in my life. And hell, we all have some story to tell, right? So, I got my mechanisms, I got my routines, I've got my faith. Because without faith, there's nothing. Without belief, there's nothing. And I got my actions, and I got my plans. I've got my plans, for sure. Do I know exactly what's going to happen? No, I don't, because nobody knows exactly what's going to happen. But there are things that I want to happen that I will try to manifest. I will try to bring them into existence. Yeah. What do you think, Wolfie? Is this making sense? Is this making sense? I want people to think. I want people to think about the people they've left behind. That's what I want. I want people to think about the pain that they've caused. Look, my partner has jumped ship with the 3 kids without telling me. Oh, there's reasons. So, there's a reason for everything. Yeah, of course, there's reasons. You're bloody well right, there's reasons. But I can also tell you they're not the reasons that you think they are. There's much deeper things going on. Much deeper things getting on. Much deeper things going on. People don't see the full picture. They don't know the full picture. They don't explore far enough. They don't go far enough. They see 2% of the story and they dive in and they think, yeah, we're gonna save the world. Dun, dun, dun. They're gonna be a superhero. And really, they're screwing things up, but they'll never realize it because they'll never stop to see the full picture. They'll never realize there's another side. There might be another part of the story that you're missing. A couple of pages there. Key characters. Things that you don't know. My God, if I could tell everybody everything I knew. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get there. I'm trying to tell everybody what I know so that they don't end up in the same shit show. Definitely don't want that. Don't want to end up in the same shit show. Yeah. Yep. For sure. So, yeah, what I'm saying is you can see how easy it is that they just top themselves. You can see how the father who's suddenly left in isolation, I guess you could argue the mother, but it's usually the father, right? It's just like, fuck. What do I do next? When all your thoughts were about kids, 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 kids. All your thoughts. What next? Activities, organization, education tomorrow. Thoughts, sharing, reading, writing, arithmetic. Surprises. The unexpected. Games, rules, learning, morals, values, all that stuff. Six hours a day, 12 hours a day, 24 hours a day. Investing your time. Looking forward to the next day, the next moment. Not being able to wait for the kids to get up. Not being able to wait for them to go to bed either. Right? And then boom! Absolute silence. No questions. No being able to help. No setting up activities for other people. Wow. It's rough. Damn! It's rough. Like, I don't know. It's like being in a small boat in a big sea, all these giant waves crashing around about you. That's what it's like. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, that sole survivor, huh? Maybe wishing they hadn't survived, right? Maybe wishing they'd gone down with the ship so that they could still be with their loved ones, looking at those disasters of history where the survivors carry more scars than you could ever imagine. There's a weight to life. There's a great weight that we must all carry, for sure. But I've got to talk about it, right? I've got to talk about the silence. I've mentioned it recently. I'm not sure that people that I've talked to about it fully get it. The hell for the old person left alone. The hell for anyone isolated. And we're all in the state that the world's in. We're all in some kind of isolation right now. Stay away from people. It doesn't work for humanity. It doesn't work. Isolation doesn't work. We're group orientated community types. We need bonding. We need human contact. Like physical human contact with people is a great thing. Hugs, giving love, sharing warmth. Not being able to share the warmth of a partner, the warmth of the kids. Not being able to share the frustrations, the confusion, the rules. Just not being able to share. And the whole world right now is being isolated. People are being driven left and driven right and driven into their specific camps, and then they're, what's the term? I don't know. They're walled off from other opinions, and then they can't communicate with people because they don't see the other side. I don't understand why they think like that. Yes, because you've never been exposed to the ideas. You've never been challenged. But me and Wolfie, we know what it's like, right? We know what. Can you hear this? Can you hear the waves crashing in the sea? Walked up to the edge of the pier there. You hear the waves crashing on the rocks. But me and Wolfie know what it's like. I mean, like you wouldn't leave a kid on their own, you know? You wouldn't. But you'd leave an adult, wouldn't you? You would. Yeah. So many of them, it's just very easily disposable. These adults, you know? Dime a dozen. Pick up your adult. Trade and swap, right? Modern relationships, just like baseball cards. Soccer stickers. Yeah. Trade and swap. Always end up with an excess pile, don't you? Marketing genius. The excitement of ripping open the packet, not knowing what's inside. The excitement of not knowing what's coming next. The thrill. The fun. And that requires people, really. It requires human interaction. It requires getting together. It requires sharing plans. But then snap, crack. It's broken. The ties, the bonds. There's nothing more evil than breaking the bonds of human connection. That's got to be. I mean, I've often thought that death is a great cruelty, right? When the death means the removal of that person's knowledge and experience in life, so that they can't share anything any longer. They can't help someone with something. They can't impart the knowledge. And then when the person dies and all the knowledge dies with them, it's a crime. It's a crime. And relationships are the same when they lead to isolation. And few people, if anyone, seems to care, because everyone's got their own shit to deal with. That's why the relationship has got to work out. It's got to work out. Because if it doesn't work out, there's not going to be anything left. There's not going to be anything else. That's it, really. You have to make it work out. What can you learn? What can you learn from the fact that there's no second chances in life? Nothing ever really comes round again. You could find some example. You can find some exception to every rule, can't you? You can find an exception to every rule, and you could argue, but it doesn't matter. Look at that, right up on the edge of the pier now. And I can see over the distant wall, I can see the sun is setting and it's casting light across the North Sea onto the hills of the north of Scotland. There's some really high hills, I'm tempted to say mountains up there, and it's absolutely beautiful. That light, that low, sharp, was it orange? I don't know, it just kind of makes the mountains come alive. Brings life. Brings life. So, you have to make it work out. That's why you have to make your choices carefully. You have to look at the averages and the aggregates and everything. Make your choices carefully. What you think is far less important than what is. And yet what you think then can create what is. It's the damn yin and yang of everything, isn't it? It's only good until it's not good anymore. It's only bad until it's necessary. Right. Me and Wolfie now, we've sat there with no one to talk to. We've hurt with no one to share the pain with. We've cried with no one to see the tears. We've wondered the pointlessness of everything. Right? And what is the point when you don't know when you're going to see your kids again? What is the point when you have to argue the truth to prove the truth? What did they say about the man who did nothing wrong? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. What have we learned? Have we learned anything at all? 2,000 years. Right back to the start. Society lands on a giant snake. And we're back to the beginning. Might be able to hear the fighter jet coming into land at the local Air Force base in the background there. Sometimes they come into land and they sort of overshoot the runway and come round again. I wonder if that's because they actually don't get it right or if they're just sort of practicing their coming in maneuvers. Wonder where they've been flying. Wonder what they've been doing. You kind of wonder who pays for it all as well, I guess. Anyway. Just walking does wonders for the soul. A walk with Wolfie does wonders for the soul. Had all these plans. Fuck. Had all these plans to get the kids up early and take them down to the end of the pier and watch the sunrise. Had all these plans to pack a picnic and go down the beach. Had all these plans to find a snowy hill and sledge down. And all that shit gets ripped away, swept away by the storms of life. And so few people seem to notice. Looking across at the town, there's all those rooms over there. They could all be full of dead people, and it wouldn't really matter very much, would it? That's a morbid thought, isn't it? I guess it would matter to somebody. Sticks in my head those some reason those singers that top themselves. I was a kid, used to listen to the grunge bands. All the singers killed themselves. They all killed themselves. Stress, pressure, isolation, whatever. They all killed themselves. There was that guy from Alice in Chains. What was the singer's name? Lane Stanley. Yeah. Used to sing his songs. Yeah, wanna travel south this year. Whoa, and they found him dead in his flat like 2 weeks after he died. 2 weeks. Singer of a famous band. Hundreds of thousands of fans across the world. Yeah. and it was just he was alone in his flat for 2 weeks. He died and no one came around, nobody went to see him, nobody really worried about him. The isolation. No one's immune. Just climbing up the ladder here, the iron ladder fixed into the wall, having a little look at the canoeist out on the sea. Must be cold out there. Got frostbite a few weeks ago when I went out. couldn't feel my legs, and then when I could feel them, I didn't want to feel them anymore. Oh my God. A cautionary tale. A cautionary tale. Imagine that. Just like 2 weeks. 2 weeks of my. And then here's the conundrum. Here's the conundrum. The conundrum is that if you have these, what would be like rational, psychological, emotional feelings, if you express that to people, people would go, "Oh, you're crazy," you know? In the sense that they wouldn't let you see your kids, right? If you say to somebody, "I'm feeling really down and I'm really depressed," which I'm not, but I can see how it happens to people. Feeling really down and feeling really depressed. Oh no, you can't get access to your kids. That's a terrible state to be in, right? And then it becomes a kind of weird self-fulfilling prophecy of, "Oh look, the father's not fit to be a father for the kids. Yeah, well, let's go and see if the father's fit to be a father." The father's just been destroyed by what's happened, right? What he needs is the bloody kids there to give him something to live for, not the other way around. That's like saying, "Well, let's not go and see the old folks because they're old folks. They need people around, right? We all need people around. Keeping people from people is just evil." Oh yeah, there's an argument on the other side of that, is you want to keep certain people away from certain people. I can understand that at certain points in time, but I don't want to manipulate anyone. I don't want to tell anyone what to do. Don't even know what to do myself sometimes. Oh, check out the mountains in the background. Under the setting sun. Under a beautiful sky. Can you hear the birds? It's the top of a mast of a boat here. A lot of birds all chirping away. But can you You stop to think about the way that it's set up, right? Of like, we'll isolate him, and then we'll drive in a final nail, and then we'll have someone do some psychological assessment, and they'll be like, oh, well, it's not good, he's suffering now, and being done to man all over the place. No, it's not. Don't get me wrong, right? It's not an anti-anything. This. People say, oh no, it's just about men. No, it's about human beings. It's about all human beings and the way they need to behave towards each other, and the way they need to respect each other, and the way they need to love each other, and the way they need to give to each other. In that message, right? The message of peace and love, right? The message of forgiveness. If you can't forgive, then you're forever angry. Forever angry. And ever and ever and ever. And then everything you do just feeds your anger, and the anger becomes bitterness. And the bitterness becomes hate, and the hate destroys your hope. Gotta have faith. Gotta be like Wolfie and have Wolfie's vision. Gotta be like Wolfie and have Wolfie's energy. Gotta be like Wolfie. Huh? That's how you gotta be. There's another thing, not being able to push the kids on a swing, right? Let me tell you something that maybe nobody's ever told anybody before. Let me tell you. Let me tell you something. And no one's ever told anybody.